Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Lance here, and today's video I'm talking with you about the real reason that you hate working out or getting into shape. It's actually because of what's called negative neuro associations, or also known as anchors to negative experiences. So if you have found yourself desiring to get in shape but not following through and feeling like, gosh, man, I just dread the process. I don't like working out. I hate tracking food. I hate doing all the things to get in shape. This video is absolutely for you. So the very first thing that you need to know is that everything that we do is going to come down to pain or pleasure that we're seeking out that determines whether we'll follow through with something. So if you're only focusing on the pain of the process of getting in shape, rather than the pleasure of the outcomes of being in shape, such as more confidence, more energy, more vitality, being able to shop for clothes that you actually enjoy, knowing that you have more confidence when you're speaking because you feel like you're in better shape. These are the things that are going, if you're not focusing on those and you're only focusing on the pains of the process, this is what's known as conflicting beliefs or conflicting thoughts. What this means is that you have a desire to get in shape, but then you also have a conflicting belief that in order to get in shape, it's painful. And so what happens is the one that we believe to be most true is the one that wins. And if we believe that it is way more painful to get in shape than the pain of what it is to currently be out of shape, then we have nothing that's going to cause us to move and take action towards getting in shape. So the fact is that if this is you, chances are you are very, very prone to noticing or to focusing on what's called loss aversion, which is what am I losing in order to get the thing that I want? Now, that's human nature and I totally get it, but what we want to start doing is making the thing that we desire even more attractive. And the only way that we can do that is by essentially acknowledging that the pains of getting where we want to go, such as if I'm wanting to save up, to go on a vacation, it might feel painful to save up a couple $100 a month. So when I'm sacrificing, if I'm only focusing on the fact that I'm not going to restaurants because I'm saving money, and I'm only focusing on how I can't do this thing and that thing anymore because I'm saving money, essentially what happens is the pain of me putting back money outweighs the pleasure of the vacation that I'm saving for. Now, the reason that normally doesn't happen is because people desire a vacation so immensely. And they're thinking about when they're at work going, oh, couple more months, and I get to get there. You're so focused on the relief, you're so focused on the payout, the outcome, that you would put back double the money if you had it and it wouldn't even feel like a negative consequence. This is a prime example of why focusing on the negatives or focusing on the cost of getting where we want to go will potentially keep us from ever even taking action to get the thing that we want. Now, I can't imagine somebody going, I don't like saving money and putting back, so I'm not interested in a vacation ever. It would never happen. Now, I'm sure that there is somebody that goes, I don't want vacations. Okay, well, kudos to you. You're not a real human. You're definitely not somebody that wants to work with somebody like me, because I need vacations. I need quality of life. And I like to focus on things that I want for self-improvement because it doesn't just fix one area of my life. It bleeds into other areas. The better I look and feel about myself, the better I treat other people, the more inclined I am to help, to serve, to be in a state of abundance, and to not operate out of scarcity and lack because I don't feel like I'm enough or I'm battling shame. If this is resonating with you, stay tuned. This is what I'm going to get into. So here's basically how to get away from conflicting desires that prevent you from living your best life. Number one, we have to focus on the payout of the workout or the thing that we want, or it only stays a chore that we should do, just like eating greens. So we do it when we have the willpower, of course, but then we dread doing it during because we're not getting or focusing on the positive feedback for a payout or the reward. So the thing of it is if you're saving for a vacation, chances are is that every dollar you're putting back, you are very much envisioning laying on the white beach, and getting the sun, or you're picturing, just zooming down the slopes and not thinking about anything else, you are very much so envisioning and picturing what this vacation is going to do for you. In other words, you're so focused on the payout that putting back the money just isn't a big deal. It has to be the same for you to get in shape. If you're only focusing on the cost of getting in shape, you're going to eventually see, or you're going to prove to yourself, that it's simply not worth it. And let me tell you, nothing could be further from the truth. The second one here, we're doing things more challenging than our current skill. This is another thing that usually happens that causes us to focus on being taken away from where we want to be. So we're doing things more challenging than our current skill level, so we dread it instead of seeing it for what it is, an outlet to freedom. So what happens is that a lot of times we end up focusing on the fact that we used to be better at working out, or so-and-so is doing better than us right now, and so we begin to think that because this is a challenge for us, it's not fun and that it's not worth it, or simply put, that we should be doing better than what we're doing. And the fact is that this is not the case. When you first start off learning addition and subtraction, yes, you do want to be able to get to long division and multiplication, but the fact is that everything that you're doing, the addition and subtraction, that seems like it's menial, is absolutely the fundamentals that you've got to be able to flex those muscles before ever attempting to work on long division and multiplication. The same thing is with your fitness journey and with tracking food. What happens is that it's challenging at first to track food and do things outside of your normal comfort zone. But the reality is that this is necessary to build up to build up the muscle, or to flex those muscles that are strong enough so that as you've done this a little bit, it no longer takes the muscle to do it. Guys, I don't need willpower to convince myself to go work out. I look forward to it every day. And that's not because of my discipline. It's because I, over the years, have conditioned my mind to know that every workout a single workout is depleting or diminishing anxieties and stress and worries. But over the course of the week, it's going to help me to reach other goals. Over the course of a month, it's going to help me to reach massive goals. The fact is that I'm very, very aware that any challenge that I have whenever I'm learning this, it is not only necessary, but it's something that we can actually really enjoy later on down the road. So the fact is that we want to focus on, rather than seeing these things as a challenge, just simply seeing them as something that is like an equation. And you're solving that equation just like you would solve for X if you're doing algebra. And the fact is that there's a solution on all of those things. But if you're only sitting there focusing on the challenge in your current skill level, then unfortunately, which is because most of the time people bite off more than they can chew, you're going to burn yourself out. So the real solution here is making sure that in the beginning, you're not getting more challenges than what your current discipline is, number one. And number two, making sure that when you feel the challenge, you're not seeing those challenges as defeat or plateaus, but simply just like a challenging workout that you work through, or an equation that you know you're going to come up with the answer on. It's just homework, nothing more. The very third thing here, the very last thing, not the very third thing. The third thing is that the reasons that we usually have these conflicting desires that prevent us from our best life is that we're not doing things to move the needle, so the efforts feel in vain. So what this means is that we need to measure the data markers that actually prove what we're doing is working or not working, and only then can we make the changes. And what I mean by this is that if you start off trying to get yourself in shape and the only thing you're focusing on is the scale, because you don't realize that sometimes the scale won't move because you're gaining muscle, lean body mass. The scale won't move because maybe you have lost inches, but you've gained lean body mass, but not to go too far on the other side, you ate a big meal and you haven't digested it fully. You don't realize that your weight is actually undulating. It doesn't stay the same every day. which means that if you do wanted to get the most accurate reading of your weight, you actually want to make sure that you're weighing 7 days a week to take the average. Now, if you're obsessed with the scale, do not do that. My point is, just simply knowing that there are other data markers that prove that what you're doing is working is a must. What I mean simply by this is that when you start your journey or you're on your journey for fitness or whatever it is, you need to be focusing on more than just the scale. Otherwise, you're going to feel defeated when the scale isn't moving. So, for example, you want to use the circumference. So you want to use measurements, you want to use before and after photos, you want to use a body fat tester, and you want to also do the scale. Using the scale alone is only 1/4 of the picture. It doesn't say everything that's really going on. Now, again, I cannot even begin to tell you how many people I've witnessed get upset because the scale moved, let's say, 2.7 pounds, and they didn't test their body fat or do measurements to actually see if this was enough. So one of the things that we do with our clients, and this is something I would implore you to do, is when you check the scale, you also want to check obviously your body fat testing, and you want to test your measurements in your photos. But here's the reason why the body fat testing is going to be such a huge deal along with the measurements. When you test your body fat, instead of just the scale, the body fat tells you not what weight you should be at, but tells you what body fat percentage you should be at. For example, it does not matter what your weight is or what your height is. If you're a female and you're between 22 to 25% body fat, whether you're 200 pounds, 400 pounds, or 100 pounds, you're technically in shape. You are in the normal range. It does not matter the scale. So what we want to do is, what we teach our clients is to actually focus on body fat percentage, not because you're not going to lose scale pounds, but because the scale pounds are in fact, the smallest fraction of what this is all about. So what I mean here is that we have them test out how much body fat they have and how much they're on the scale. For example, let's say that somebody gets on the scale and they figure out their weight, their body fat, and then they realize that where they're starting off on, they don't like it. And then 1 month later, we check the scale only moves 2 pounds, but the body fat says that they lost, let's say, around 2%. Now again, never mind the math on this. What we do is we have them figure out how many pounds of body fat they had in the beginning, and then how many pounds of body fat they have now. Even though the scale might show them to be like barely only 2.5 pounds lost, what happens is, because people might gain 4 or 5 pounds of lean body mass, and the body fat goes down, what happens is when you test your body fat maybe in the beginning, you're at 30% body fat, and you've got, let's say, 91 pounds of body fat. So the second one you go through, and you've only lost 2.5 pounds on the scale, but when you test your body fat, instead of 91 pounds of body fat, now you only have, let's say, 85 pounds of body fat. You have lost 6 pounds of body fat because you've gained lean body mass, and the scale won't show that. If you did not know that, you would get upset. You would begin altering your procedures to get you in shape, even though what you did was already working. This is the reason that so many people get derailed. They don't even know what data markers they're looking at, and they don't take a scientific approach. So if you're looking for a scientific approach, if you're tired of the yo-yo weight loss and the guessing and the crying in the rooms, crying in the dressing rooms, I was about to say the weight rooms, crying in the dressing rooms, or you're trying on something and you're getting upset, or you're doing like what Lauren used to do, where Friday nights you're ready to go out and you go put on something and then you realize you don't like how it looks, so you stay in. Or maybe your work is starting to be affected because your confidence has dropped. If that's you and you're tired of doing things the way that you've always done and you're not getting the results that give you the quality of life, shoot me a DM. Let's chat a little bit about if and how I can help you, like I've been able to do with my clients. So if you have any questions, let me know. If you feel like this was helpful, be sure to drop a hashtag value in the comments below. Let me know what questions you guys have, and I'll see you guys